So the way in which we get ourselves from a 1, 2, or 3 to that 4 and then 5 is through a methodology I've developed over the series of a good number of years now called the Career Pivots Compass. This is a methodology that I've designed based on the fact that I've worked now with thousands of clients across 6 different continents. Without fail, all of them, when I looked at it, were looking for balance, confidence, and fulfillment. And over time, I realized that I'd innovated a framework that I was using mostly on a one-to-one basis. And over the last 2 years, I've now started teaching that as part of small group coaching on a course that I call the Career Design Mastermind. So it's got 6 different strategic steps, and this is the framework we use to get ourselves to level 5. So foundational layer number 1 is time and energy management. If I've got my head down all the time, producing, I forget to look up and work on my career. So we need to make sure that we're finding enough time and space every single week to take small aligned action steps. So if you can create just 1 hour a week, it will make a huge difference. Don't worry yet what you're going to do with that time. We're going to go through all of the how-tos as well. There's another key component to time and energy as well. It's about being able to balance multiple different competing areas of life sustainably. When we just focus on our career, it's at the detriment to other areas of life. They start to suffer, like our health, like our relationships. That's when we know we've made our career equal our identity. We'll talk about that later. Foundational layer number 2, which builds on top of that, is overcoming personal limitations. If I try to take a career pathway to its next steps from, am I capable? Do I know enough? Am I good enough? Am I deserving and worthy of that? The results that I get will be very different to if I identify, where is that stuff coming from? Let that stuff go and then plot a powerful course forwards. I find that of all the steps, this is largely one of the most important to restore our full confidence and beyond, to open up our true potential. Based on that, then we come into the center of the compass. These 4 steps are around generating career fulfillment. Step number 3 is leadership pathways. Most people, when they're thinking about what's next, try to squeeze themselves into what's available based on their current set of skills and qualifications and their background. Leadership pathways flips this thinking on its head. We go, well, not what can I do, but what am I actually naturally talented for? What kind of role profiles align to those talents? How do I get even better at the talents that I do have? And how do I create a leadership pathway based on my talents? It's a completely different way of thinking when we look at our strengths, rather than we're always kind of asked to pinpoint our weaknesses and to work there. This is about building a team, being able to delegate those things that are not in flow for us. So we'll talk a bit more about that later too. Step number 4 is career pivots. This is answering the question, that all-important question of what's next in my career. We look at the intersection between our purpose, which lies in our past, where our passions came from. This is the driver, those motivational drivers that say, this is why I got out of bed this morning, to do this work. The mission lies in the present. This is where we get our personal power from. And it's that understanding our natural talents, having a role that aligns to them, but also ensuring that our career values are covered. What's going to make us actually happy and fulfilled in our work. Being able to use those career values as a blueprint against, how can I get more of what I'm looking for in fulfillment from my current role? How can I advocate for those opportunities? And if I do decide to move beyond this workplace, will I get more or less than what I have already? So is it a yes for me, or is it a no? And I can decline opportunities with data, like being able to actually have data around that. And that, where am I heading in the future? This is the vision, being able to articulate, where am I going? What's important to me? What bigger difference do I want to make in the world? And being able to find organizations that align to that vision, and therefore getting even greater alignment in terms of our fulfillment. Then we move into the practicalities of, if I understand where I'm heading, how do I make that happen? What I find is that opportunities now are not always as they seem. When we see job adverts and things like that that are available, often they already have someone in mind for those positions. And this becomes more true the higher up you get in an organization, the more all that behind the scenes work of networking, informal chats becomes critical. I'm not saying this is how it should be because it's very discriminatory, or yeah, I'm sure that's the word. But it is how things currently work in the world. And so sometimes we have to be able to work with the system to get to a place where we can change the system in the future for others. So this is about being able to create the next opportunity you're looking for by ensuring that your LinkedIn profile in particular isn't a dusty old CV. It doesn't tell people what you currently do or what you did in the past. It speaks to that next opportunity. And we use some tools and techniques behind the scene to start to build that network and have informal chats. And then all the good stuff you experience around career coaching, like CVs, cover letters, interview technique. And then stage number 6 is propelling strategies. Once I transition to that next step, don't forget these key pieces, which is negotiating salary and pay packages and compensation. That's where some of the biggest gender pay gaps happen when we move to a new organization. Ensuring that we don't just show up and go, don't know what I'm doing. We want to have a 30, 60, 90-day transition plan so we know what we're asking of who at the right times. That's the sort of thing that kickstarts and propels our career and helps us to get promoted very shortly afterwards. And then ensuring that we are continuing our development by having a personal and professional development plan for the year ahead. So those are the 6 steps, and there's some intricacies between each one.